It's Money in the Bank weekend. SmackDown recap, Money in the Bank preview, Heat Wave predictions. Let's go.
Wait! I can't believe it! Yes! Yes! A Rock is going to WrestleMania! Randy in position for another curb stop. Oh, my God! Oh, my unbelievable counter! Oh, my God! Unbelievable!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting edition of In This Very Ring, right here live on A2D Radio. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Well, X, whatever the hell we're calling it now. And then you're probably listening to us back on Apple Podcasts, Google's podcast speaker, wherever you get your podcasts. And we appreciate you for listening in. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. My name is Ritz. And joining me as he does each and every Friday night, the mayor of Toasty Town, this is Butters.
Hi.
I hate you so much. Now it's just a thing now. Either way, we want to thank before we get into everything, we want to thank our sponsors, Baggio's Bread. Baggio's Bread is located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed bread, tomato pie, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. That's
now you're making me
Baggio's
hungry.
Bread. Well, yeah, I know. That's Baggio's Bread located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. There it is. I can't believe it's not Butters. God, that's such a callback to the Margarine Championship Wrestling or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Oh, one of our draft shows. That was such a good episode. But we have a lot to talk about tonight. It is money, like I said at the top of the hour, it is Money in the Bank weekend. So we're going to talk Money in the Bank. We're going to talk Heat Wave. We're going to give a little recap from this weekend wrestling. Everything WWE this week because, well, to be honest with you, I didn't care for Forbidden Door last week. It was a cluster and none of it made sense.
Britt Baker was the only thing good about it.
Yeah, and then even that got overshadowed by being mediocre. But we set the stage for this weekend tonight with SmackDown. Great show, great ending. But tomorrow's Money in the Bank. So the question on everybody's mind is Jey Uso winning Money in the Bank. Is that Jey Uso winning Money in the Bank would have a bigger impact than Drew McIntyre? Agree, disagree? Butters, I throw it to you, but before I do that, we set the stage with the Money in the Bank men's ladder match. It's Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, yeah, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre. I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Let's see.
I'm pulling it up, but I feel like I'm missing somebody. Andrade, Chad, Drew, Jay, LA Knight. I am missing somebody.
Gable?
No, I said Gable. Hold on. I have it right here. Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is what I was missing.
Wow. Easily forgotten. Damn.
So they are competing for the men's championship match contract inside the Money in the Bank briefcase. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. And the front runners of this match are Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso. We know what's happening over on SmackDown side with the Bloodline and how there's a lot of conversations leading up to, is Jay and Jimmy is there a Bloodline Civil War coming? Jay and Jimmy going to be involved with Roman when Roman eventually makes his return? Who's going to be the fourth man to take on the Bloodline with them? But it's really looking at Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. We'll break down all six because I do think there's some more to play here. But if Jey Uso wins, is that a bigger impact than if Drew McIntyre wins?
You know what? I'm going to have to agree to the poll here. Jey Uso winning would have a bigger impact because with Drew, we already know what's going on with this. Drew's cashing in the same night. Drew's potentially either winning or getting screwed by Punk. And then it's at that point, the briefcase becomes null, void, and pointless.
A non-issue?
Yeah, it becomes a non-issue. We move on to seeing what the women do. But if Jay wins it, now we have when does he cash in? Who does he cash in on? He's got more behind him right now between the fans, the heat, everything. He's got so much more behind him than, say, if someone like Drew to win, or maybe even Chad Gable. Jey Uso winning this would probably be the perfect one to win for tomorrow night, in my eyes.
See, I'm going to disagree to the poll. I'm going to go, if you had to put it, two up against each other, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, I'm going to go Drew, because as much as he says he's going to cash in that night on Seth or Damian Priest, either one, I don't think he ends up pulling the trigger. I think Drew's better to play the mind games with than if Jey were to have it, right? Because for Jey, it wouldn't be mind games. It wouldn't be like we saw with Damian Priest, where there'd be a million attempts, but also a million fails until that one WrestleMania moment. And then also when you realize that you're heading into something where Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Roman Reigns all could potentially be back on the same side, and having to go up against Solo, Tonga, and Jacob, having that Money in the Bank briefcase is going to make it's such a non-issue there as well, right? Like, now, Money in the Bank briefcase is the one thing where you could say, hey, you know what? He's got it. It doesn't matter right now because he's not even smelling a title, because he's got to go handle some family business. It's not like we're saying, oh, we're going to put the Intercontinental title or, a tag title on Usos again, to where it's just not going to fit. I think with Drew having it, he'll continue to keep that contract relevant. Because there was a time when Damian was the briefcase holder where it wasn't relevant. The briefcase didn't matter. Him being, Senior Money in the Bank just didn't matter. And I think with Drew, because he comes out, he cuts these great promos. You're going to have that moment with CM Punk where he, and to your point, he may try to cash it in that night. But what if Punk stops him? Or he hears the music and he stops it. There's so many different variables that go into a Drew McIntyre title. Sorry, I keep saying title reign. It's a reign with a briefcase. The reign of Drew McIntyre than it does with Jey Uso. And that takes us into the championship match. And I'm going to break that down in a second. But we do have some comments jumping in here. The godfather of HUD Radio, Mr. Tom Arnone himself, was here. He chimed in, giving us a yo. What's up, Tom? How you doing, buddy? Don is here. What's going on, Don? Lynch says, they got to give it to Jey. He sacrificed his body and his brother at last year's WrestleMania. Don goes on to say, I wouldn't be mad if Carmelo won, but I don't think it'll happen. And I don't either. When you look at Carmelo and Andrade, and even to an extent LA Knight, they're kind of the supporting cast in this. Lynch agrees, give it to Mello. And Don's going where I'm going. Once we start breaking down the match, it would be funny if Chad climbs the ladder, then boom, the Wyatt Six music pops up and Nikki pushes the ladder over. Don, I don't think, like you say,
I don't disagree with that.
I think I 100% agree that something like that is coming. And was I talking to you? Who was I talking? No, I was talking to a guy at work, and I was like, I think that's where the Wyatt Six get mixed up into it, is when Chad Gable looks like he's going to win, and he's going to be pulled from the match in that. Lynch says, straighten up, boys. Boss man is watching. Oh, we're always on it. So back to what we were talking about, though. When you look at the World Heavyweight Championship match, and you look at Damian and you look at Seth, either way, if you have Drew McIntyre win, you can take that route either way with both of them. Right? Where he gets to play the mind games with Seth. He gets to play the mind games with Damian Priest. Because they're both going to kind of be baby faces. We see that transitioning with Damian, where there's an idea to push Damian as a face. And I hear a new report coming out that says they may push Seth as a heel. That will work if Jey wins the title. I mean, wins the contract. then that works a little bit more. Right? But if you have Jey win and you have Seth and Damian, he ain't going to play mind games with Seth. He's going to do it respectfully with Seth. He may even wait till Seth loses the title to even think about cashing it in.
Yeah.
Whereas with Damian, he can have that fun. And it's so crazy how we talk about it's having fun with somebody if you're a babyface, and it's mind games if you're a heel. Right? And you're able to take that and go different routes with it. And I also think it's comical. We're only talking about Raw superstars winning this championship, winning this briefcase, if you think about it. Drew McIntyre, LA Knight. I mean, not LA Knight, Jey Uso. Sorry, LA Knight's right in the corner of my vision. So, because I have the match card up over here.
Yeah. Because I hate to say it, but there's nobody on the SmackDown side right now other than maybe LA Knight that's going to sniff that briefcase.
But, and it's not for any reason other than why do they have to?
Exactly.
You're not positioning Cody in a spot to have championship contenders. I mean, for God's sakes, he's in a 6-man tag team match on the pay-per-view tomorrow night. His title's not even being defended. So that plays a big thing in it too, as well. Not that his title has to be defended every time, but we've started this. We attacked Cody at, what was the last one? Clash was last?
Yeah, the last pay-per-view they had.
Clash at the Castle. You attack Cody, but Solo's not saying he's going after the title. That's not. You're just going after Cody to go after Cody.
Yep, because he took away what was, what he feels belonged to the family.
Right. Brian Wilson chiming in. What's up, boys? Hope you had a happy 4th. Thank you, Brian. We hope you did as well. And Brian Daly, the other Brian here at A2D Radio, chiming in. What's up? You can catch Brian Wilson on Sundays on Agree to Disagree with the Godfather himself. And then you can check Brian Daly on Flyers Talk, A2D Radio on Tuesdays. And he is going to agree to the poll. Kevin Dixon, well, in a way, I do see Jey Uso winning a singles championship belt if he does not win Money in the Bank contract. Well, I mean, that's inevitable, though, Kevin. That's like saying, I mean, it's a good comment, but it's an inevitable comment, right? Jey Uso will win a title at some point. Whether he wins Money in the Bank or doesn't win Money in the Bank, I think. Yeah, either way. But let's really continue to break down this men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You've got Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre. We've really talked about Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre kind of at length. Because if you take those two out of the equation, and you look at LA Knight, Chad Gable, Andrade, and Carmelo, it's easy to say that Chad Gable's a non-factor because you got the Wyatt 6 looming in the background.
Yep.
I think Chad Gable's going to have a strong showing, but ultimately I think something's going to spook him, whether it is a Nikki Cross at the bottom of the ladder and tossing him off and eliminating him from the match, so to say, or if the lights go out and that music, man. I don't know what it is about that music. I've not watched
music in it.
Promo.
Oh, that promo was fire.
I know. I've tried to watch about 4 or 5 different times. I just get distracted. I get pulled in a different direction doing something. But I did watch the part where they scared him at the start of Monday Night Raw. And I'll tell you something. Watching it in a dark room with no lights on the big TV behind me, because I don't normally watch it on the TV. I have it on my monitors. I'm doing other things, but I had it on the TV behind me. I was like, you know what? This is kind of fucking spooky. I love it though, but I'm like, okay,
that means they're doing things right.
There's an element of true creepiness, and it's all because of that music. The music makes everything. Brian Daly, love the Ghostbusters hat.
Thanks, Brian.
Brother. And then Don says, I got to see the Wyatt 6 live for a better experience. I agree to that statement as well. But I also, because I saw the Undertaker's entrance, a lot of Undertaker entrances, at the different WrestleManias that I've been to and the different shows that I've been to.
Better on TV than live?
Sometimes, yeah, depending on how it goes. Sometimes it's better because you can see behind the curtain, right? So to say, when you're live. So some of that aspect gets taken away. Anyway,
it's all about the camera angle, baby.
It really is. But it's a catch-22 when you go to a live event. That's what you expect. You expect to see the inner workings of the show.
Yes.
But that's why I think Chad Gable he'll touch the briefcase.
He'll sniff it a little.
Yeah, and then he'll go bye-bye. LA Knight's been kind of hanging out in not to be funny, but the island of irrelevancy, so to say.
They cooled him down hard.
They really did. Like, they dipped him in, like, he was lava hot, and then they just dipped him in water.
Yep. Which is dumb, but I get why they did it, because they've got their storylines they got to deal with.
Yeah, it was, but he still gets the yes. He still gets the pops from the crowd. So he's still relevant. Dynasty here. What's up, boys? What's up, Dynasty? He's still relevant. So I think if he were to win, I think he would also have fun with this as well.
If you take out Jey, you take out Drew, he's the top contender to win it all.
Think so. Because Dynasty says Gable's going to win.
Nah. If Gable wins it, he's cashing in on Sami Zayn. I mean, I'm just saying.
That would be, well, and we've talked about that too. We've talked about in the past, cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase on when Roman was champion. We talked about that. When Roman was the only champion. I think it was actually Money in the Bank last year because they hadn't crowned the new champion yet.
He wants that Intercontinental title so bad.
Yeah. LA Knight's loss to Roman really hurt his career. I don't think it did, but the problem... all right, well, hold on. No, I think you're right. But it's more so the fact that after he lost to Roman, they didn't do anything with him.
No, they were trying to put him on ice.
I think they kept him off of TV for like a week and a half.
They put him on ice because he was so red hot that if they'd have kept going, I mean, the fans would have. It'd have been another Daniel Bryan moment.
Well, but when I thought we were there, I thought when he went up against Roman, I think you and I talked about it. I know we definitely talked about it privately. I don't know if we ever talked about it on the air. And we might have talked about it the night of, during that match, because I think that was a during the day event. That was an overseas event.
Mm-hmm.
I had LA Knight winning, because he was so over, and I think that was a Saudi show.
And it would have made. I mean, it would have been a moment worth making at that time. You make a new, you make a new superstar, a new main eventer at that time, only to have him lose because you wanted the storylines to end up being Cody Roman at Mania.
Well, and you had a direction that you want to go, and I don't fault you for sticking to that direction, right? And I don't think anybody should. And to some extent, they recognized that LA Knight is a big deal, and they gave LA Knight so many moments throughout that program that people still look back and talk on.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he interrupted Roman's entrance, right? Nobody had done that. Nobody's done that since. So there's a lot of things that LA Knight gets to hang his hat on.
Yeah.
Daly said, I don't think I'd be mad if Gable won. It could be a good story to finally get him a singles title. And then this is where, and I think that's where what Dynasty's referred to, I think. He's cashing in on Gunther. That's where the obsession heel turn started, long-term storytelling. Are you talking about LA Knight? Or are you talking about Chad Gable? Because if you are, that plays it. If you're talking about Gable, it plays into Brian Daly's comment. You guys are just on different platforms. Brian made that comment on Facebook. Dynasty, you're on YouTube. So I want to make sure I get that clear. Don saying, we may see an LA Knight heel turn. And I don't think we do because he gets to live in that middle ground. LA Knight is the culmination of The Rock and Stone Cold mixed in with other superstars throughout that Attitude Era. It's essentially if you could take the Attitude Era, bottle it up, and then infuse it within an empty vessel. And this is LA Knight. Andrade, since he has come back, other than the stuff with the LWO, they haven't given him a big program. And same thing with Mello. They put Mello on the main roster, and you've done nothing with it.
I know it's on the background, but I mean, the only thing they've really done with Andrade is him being the speed champion.
Right.
But you can only watch those on Twitter.
And where's Logan Paul in all of this? Where's your United States? You have that program with LA Knight and Logan Paul, but where is Logan Paul throughout all of this?
Exactly.
Is Logan Paul going to get involved and cost LA Knight?
That very well could be.
Right. If you think about it, the Wyatt Six could cost it for Chad. Logan Paul could cost it for LA Knight. The Bloodline could screw with Jey Uso. Right? And now you're down to Andrade, Mello, and Drew. Well, you got to go Drew there. Dynasty was referring to Gable winning. Okay, so yeah, those two comments work really well together. And then they absolutely buried Mello and Andrade. I don't think they buried them. I don't think they buried them by no means. They just don't have anything. And that's okay from time to time. That's very okay for them not to have something for somebody.
I think these two are just a case of right now, there's nothing truly big for them to do it with LWO moving over to Raw. Carmelo Hayes, he's just kind of the newbie there to kind of build himself up.
Well, and I will die on this hill. If they put you in the Money in the Bank ladder match, they have a lot of faith and confidence in your abilities because that match always has to have those big moments, those high flyer moments, and
that's where people like Mello and Andrade come in.
You look at this, and you've got the big guy in Drew, you've got the brawler in LA Knight, and Chad Gable, right? But Andrade, Mello, Jey, and even Chad to a certain extent. They're all going to fly. They're all going to do the crazy jumps and flips and everything like that. So there's a balance that makes a recipe for a really good match. Chuck's chiming in. What's up, Chucks? How are you? And Don says he wants to see Montez Ford in the Money in the Bank ladder match. And I think we're not that far away from having that moment where Montez is in there. I think, though, I don't know. We're still milking the Street Profits thing. Bobby Lashley being hurt kind of slowed down the momentum a little bit for what the Profits were doing. So they're in a weird little limbo right now. That's another great question. When is Alexa coming back? Still unknown. I would like sooner rather than later. I'd like her to have a part in this Wyatt Six. I'd like her to almost be like, not the higher power, so to say, but like almost like a ringleader type role. She's the one orchestrating, kind of orchestrating everything, but not like I want her to have that kind of role.
That's what
with Uncle Howdy, almost like a partnership with Uncle Howdy and all that.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Let's move on to Iyo Sky, Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Zoe Stark for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Butters, who do you have and why?
Who do I have winning and why is it Chelsea Green?
No, stop it. Stop it right now. Don has a good point here. Make sure you're all hitting that like, that subscribe. Tell your friends about us. We are live. We are hanging out. We love the fact that you guys are here each and every Friday night with us.
Why, yes.
All right. Tell me why you think it's going to be Chelsea.
I feel like it is. Because, look, he deserves it with everything.
Why does she deserve it? Tell me why she deserves it. Make your case. Make your case. Come on.
Having Chelsea hold this briefcase, teasing in these cash-ins, it'd be too hilarious. You need a little comedic relief every now and then with the briefcase, and she would be the perfect one. She'd be the one to lose it. She'd be the first one to lose. They've already said you've had 100% cash in on these women's Money in the Bank.
They have brought that up a few different times.
This would be your perfect person to be the first one to lose it. I get it. You'd rather have somebody else win. You want, to Dynasty Point and even Don, Tiffy time. But you almost want to quit with the guaranteed 100% cash in and go with somebody that's able to win it and lose it. Oh, damn.
I think that's the first time that sentence has ever been uttered.
Right?
I don't even want to read it on air. Do you want to say what Don said? For those
Don says, good point, Butters.
That hurt. That hurt the soul.
It feels good.
Daly is on the train of Tiffany Stratton. Dicey says the only way I can get behind it if she turns into Laurel Von Ness, the crazy chick before she cashes in. Don, I was hacked.
Hacked for all 5 seconds. Don.
But all right. So you've made your case. So let me ask you this question before we do you rest? Do you rest your case? Have you given all evidence points and?
Yeah, I think we're good.
So let me ask you this question. Chelsea winning the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
And then being the first person to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
In an era where you have Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, Naomi, Zoe. And let's even take out Naomi, right? Because Naomi has her career. She has her achievements and accomplishments to fall back on. Take out Iyo Sky. She's a former women's champion, and she's going to have damage. Damage control is going to play a factor in this match. They almost have to. Lyra, Tiffany, Zoe, and Chelsea. And Chelsea's even made a name for herself. We sleep on the fact of what Chelsea has done for herself, and how Chelsea has made herself who she is throughout the world of professional wrestling without ever really holding a major title.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I look at her accomplishments and everything like that.
I think she just held the Knockouts title is about it.
She had the Knockouts championship. She was a tag team champion with Deonna Purrazzo. And then she was the tag team champion with Sonya, and ultimately became Piper Niven.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, and she was the All-Star Wrestling champion once upon a time as well. But she's still been such a relevant figure within the world of professional wrestling, the world of women's professional wrestling, that she doesn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Zoe, this could be her breakout moment. And then the Zoe-Shayna dynamic, if Shayna's okay with her having the briefcase.
I feel like this briefcase for the women is going to be a SmackDown superstar. With the way the storyline's going, with everything, the way everything is going for Raw. What?
She was not. She's not SmackDown Women's Champion. Never.
With everything going with Raw, I just don't see them giving it to a Raw superstar right now. With Liv Morgan, with Rhea coming back, with everything, I feel like it's a SmackDown superstar winning this one. It could be Tiffy, and she just holds it when Nia Jax inevitably wins at SummerSlam, and Tiffy's got that holding on to it, and with that whole dynamic duo they got building up right now.
when you look at Tiffy, this is the obvious and really only choice. And the reason I say that, one phrase, and I think it's really a stupid phrase. It's Tiffy time. That phrase fits the Money in the Bank briefcase perfectly. Because imagine the moment that, let's just say, Samantha Irving's the only one on ring announcing that night, and Tiffany Stratton comes out to cash the briefcase in. What an iconic call that would be on both sides, Sam's and, let's say, Michael Cole or Corey Graves or whoever calls it. It's Tiffy time. Tiffany Stratton is cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Or, it's Tiffy time. Tiffany Stratton is the new SmackDown Women's Champion. No, ignore him. But it's that line right there that will become synonymous with this Money in the Bank. Naomi's a 2-time Smack. We know.
Dynasty. We've been talking about Chelsea, not Naomi.
Yeah, we were talking about Chelsea on that one. Either way, that might be just a miscommunication, like timeline. Either way, but it fits so well here, right? Lyra, unfortunately, I think she's really, really good in the ring. I don't get the character outside of the ring. I don't know what her personality persona is going to be on the main roster. But this will fit Tiffy so well. This will 100% fit Tiffy perfectly. Without question, without fail. Right? Naomi's a veteran in the scenario. Iyo's a former women's champion. Like I said, it's really going to come down to the 4. And yeah, because Damage Control will probably take out Naomi. This I think it's very cut and dry here. You made a great case for Chelsea, and I could, like, if I had to stack them, Tiffany, then Chelsea,
then
Zoe, then Lyra, then Naomi, then Iyo.
No, I get you.
I don't think we see Iyo with it again.
Yeah.
All right. Did I miss any? I think the men's is going to be the early cash in this year, and that's a great question to bring up now, because it's inevitable almost, right? Somebody always cashes in night of.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time for the men to do it this year? Like,
oh yes, because it's been the women like the past X amount of years that the men have been holding and holding and holding, while the women have just they've blown the load.
It's over and it's done with before the night's even over.
Exactly. It's like a 3-year-old with money. They can't hold it. They got to go spend it on that candy right now.
Right.
So it's time for the men, because honestly, if Drew wins it, he's cashing in that same night.
It's very possible, and it'll be really telling which match is first, because they always start with one.
Yep.
So if they start with the men's tomorrow, then I think the men are going to cash in night of.
Yeah.
Bailey is having her little thing with they're ramping up the Nia thing. Nia attacked Bailey tonight. Who made the save? Mia Yim?
I kind of was in and out of that.
And I say that because I think they started calling her Mia Yim again.
Instead of Meechin?
Yeah, I think I saw that on here, let me scroll down. I'm on. Yeah. Oh no, they tagged Mia Yim, but it's still Meechum. Yeah. Her
Okay.
handle is still Mia Yim. Okay. That's what it was. So Meecham's getting involved in this Nia Bailey thing as we're ramping up to SummerSlam.
Good.
But let's talk Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship.
Braun Breaker all day long, 100%. Sami's eating that spear at least once or twice, and then it's
he's gonna eat a spear. Is it the right time for Braun?
Yes, because they're doing it regardless of whether he wins or loses anytime soon. They're pulling a Goldberg with this one.
I don't think he's gonna squash Sami.
I'm not saying he's gonna squash Sami. I'm saying they're pulling a Goldberg in the sense of they're giving him the singles title run. They're gonna see how he does with it, but he's just gonna blow through everybody. They're like I said, this is probably going to be a WCW-esque Goldberg where he's just going to blow through everybody with the one title, and now he wants the big one. He's done with it. He wants the big one.
I think Sami Zayn is going to give him a run for his money. I will say this has been a little bit of a lackluster run for Sami with the Intercontinental title. I think the bit with Chad Gable didn't. Like, the ending felt really weird because Chad has transitioned into the Wyatt Six and transitioned into the Money in the Bank briefcase, right?
Gable should have had that title multiple times over.
Agreed.
I know we talked about it ad nauseum.
I really think Gable should have won at the last time they wrestled, I think, which was in Toronto the last time.
Yep.
But I could see Braun winning here. I hope that this same mentality of I'm just going to blow through everybody carries over to when he is champion. And because there's, we talk about it all the time, and you see it right now with Cody a little bit. The chase is better than the run.
Well, in Braun Breaker, honestly, and this is just me, but Braun Breaker is one of those people that when he gets the title, they're probably the best person for open challenges. You have the open challenge each week, and he can just blow through challenger after challenger after challenger after challenger.
Because if you think about it, he can come out and do it real cocky, right? Because he's a heel, right? And you can have him come out and be real cocky about it and just tear through everybody. But he does need a new theme song.
I agree.
He does. Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins. Last chance match for the World Heavyweight Championship. If Priest wins, Rollins can never challenge for the title again, so long as Priest is champion. If Rollins wins, Damian Priest must leave the Judgment Day. So my question is it time for Priest to separate himself, or will we see Rollins looking for other title opportunities?
So Damian's winning this one hands down. He's going on to face Gunther because this is easily one of those ones. Seth loses. Damian faces Gunther at SummerSlam. Gunther is your new world champion, and now Seth can go and challenge when he pleases. You don't have that stipulation for long. Seth is in here in this title match to give Damian someone, for that in between. It gives Seth Rollins that rematch he's been looking for since WrestleMania. Seth doesn't have to do a whole lot right now. He hasn't really had to do much in these promos. He might have had to do a curb stomp or two or a kicker here or there, but he hasn't had to do much, so we don't have to worry about whether or not he's 100% healthy. He can get into the match and have a good match. Damian, to my point, is winning just so he could lose to Gunther.
I'm going to disagree with that. I think Seth wins. And then goes on to lose to Gunther. Ultimately, Gunther is winning, but because here's how you do it. You have Damian lose. He now separates from the Judgment Day. And either he tries to set up his own faction because of the whole Liv, Finn, Dominic, all that's going on.
Yeah.
Right? Or you just do Finn versus Dominic for Liv and all, and Damian goes and becomes a single star on his own, chasing back for the title.
Yeah.
And you can have Seth be a transitional champion to set up Priest on his own and not have to feed Priest to Gunther and feed Seth to Gunther, and then you put the title on Gunther, which is ultimately, I think, the route we're going to go in a few weeks at SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. Whoever wins this match is not winning again at SummerSlam. Put it that way.
Correct.
Because you won Gunther going into Germany as champion.
Oh, big time.
So
it would be the biggest failure on WWE's part if you did not have Gunther go in as champion at Germany.
Unless you have him winning in Germany.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you have him winning the title in Germany, which they could do. They could do it.
Give him a second shot at Germany. Yeah, exactly.
And you also have to keep in mind, Seth could win, but then Drew cashes in on Seth. Drew goes on to SummerSlam and still loses to Gunther.
Exactly.
Because screw you, Drew.
I forgot about the Drew McIntyre aspect of if he were to win Money in the Bank, because it can easily set up Drew Gunther, Punk's back, screw you, Gunther wins. Now we have Gunther going into Germany, bashing Berlin as your world heavyweight champion.
Yep.
So it still sets up, no matter how you set it up, Seth, Damian, Money in the Bank winner, it ultimately ends up with SummerSlam, Gunther's your champion.
Exactly. And then the 6-man tag team match. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. Any three of the combination of Solo, Tama, Tonga, and Fatu.
So I see Solo being one of them. After his promo tonight, Solo's one of them. Solo is going to come out dominating that match. This is the match for the Bloodline to win, so he could get a match with Cody at SummerSlam to try to win back, the family's title, so to speak. After his promo tonight talking about, Roman couldn't defend their legacy. Cody, in his legacy beat Roman in his legacy, and so on and so forth. Solo's going to show him why, he's no longer the tribal chief. This is a match where Solo wins this one to prove his dominance, to show why he's the head of the table from now on, and no longer Roman Reigns. It's going to end more than likely in some sort of bloodbath. This could be the match where you could almost do it. Almost. I'm not saying it has to.
Could we see a Roman appearance? I think it's a month too early. I think we see that at SummerSlam, but could we see it? Do you think we see it in this match?
We could. We could just see Roman come out, do the stare down, and then that ends the show. Because you got Solo and his Bloodline standing tall. Roman, he's out. The stare down, fade to black.
And I almost say, because you've got Jey there, here's how I think you could go with this. I don't know if I see the Bloodline winning. I think it makes more sense if the Bloodline does win for this to happen. But you could almost have the Bloodline win, and they're talking all this stuff and everything like that. And you know that Jey and Cody have a thing. So maybe Jacob comes out to attack Cody.
Yeah.
After the match, whatever have you. Here comes Jey Uso. Right? To maybe clear the ring. Ends up not clearing the ring. Starts to get beat down. Out comes Jimmy to try to make the save. Right? They clear the ring a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And whether at the top of the ramp, sandwiching everybody, or on a screen, or just walking in from the crowd. In a box, better yet, in a box overlooking everything. The spotlight goes to Roman. Wearing the red leg.
Mm-hmm.
With a beaten up
The Ula,
wise man next to
Ula,
him.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. With a beaten up wise man next to him.
I was hoping, this is just me, but you had the wise man come out, bringing out some of his past clients to take on the whole bloodline for beating him up. You got Punk. You got Roman. You got Brock. That's all you need.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Now, you could also have the bloodline standing tall, Paul Heyman coming out, and still pointing to that box. And it's Roman sitting with the Usos.
Yeah. Very well could be.
I don't know. I think it would be a great, because if you start with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, you do a couple matches, do the Sami Zayn match, then do the world title match. You have the cash in, then you do the women, then you finish it with what? Okay, so for those of you on YouTube, I'm not putting the comment up, but Butter's mom is in the Facebook chat.
Hi, Mom. Love you, Mom.
Oh my God. Jeez, that's fantastic. Oh man. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, okay. So you start with the men's match, then you do the Intercontinental title match, then you do the championship match, then you do the cash in, then you do the women's match, and then you finish with the 6-man tag. It's a weird flow to the show, but if they do finish with that match, I think we get Roman.
Yeah.
Don Butter's mom is in the Facebook.
No. That's not what he's talking about.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I ignore that kind of stuff.
I know.
Just trolls and stupid things.
I was just letting you know what he's referring to.
Okay. I missed that one. But if they end with that 6-man tag match, then you know without a doubt, I'm sorry, that it's going to be a Roman appearance. I'll call it right now. But do we have anything else for Money in the Bank? We're going to spend the last about 10 minutes or so talking about Heat Wave. That is going to be Sunday night. We got a big weekend for WWE.
Yeah, big weekend.
Anything else, though?
No, not for Money in the Bank, no.
Okay. Heat Wave in Toronto as well. For the NXT Tag Team Championships, you have Chase University versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I need Chase University to win here. I think they need to win something bad.
Yes.
I'm astonished that this gimmick has gone on as long as it has. I'm astonished that Thea Hale does not have a title reign yet.
I think with the tension between Axiom and Nathan Frazier, we're going to see a breakup right here. And because Frazier's too focused on other things, which is pissing Axiom off.
Yep.
So this match is going to go the way you think. He's still unfocused. They lose the titles, and then afterwards, Axiom's going to lose it.
Yeah, and I think it would just, like I said, it would be good for.
It'd be a nice big win for Chase U, to your point, yeah.
And I think they need it with everything going on. I think they need it. I do think we see a little bit of a heel turn for these guys. It's been teased a little bit, but we'll see where it goes. I don't think we see Thea do another heel turn. She did that little tweener heel turn thing when she was with JC Jane.
Didn't work out too well.
Not really. Kalani Jordan is defending her NXT Women's North American Championship against Sol Ruca.
As much as I would love to see Sol Ruca win this one, I think it's still too early for Kalani Jordan to lose the title.
Yeah, you need maybe at the next one.
I'm a big fan of Sol Ruca. I'm a big fan of her finisher. Sol Ruca's done a lot, coming up. As much as I feel like now would be the time, it really isn't. Kalani Jordan needs a few more title defenses under before she loses that belt.
Well, and you want to build legitimacy to this title. You don't want to play hot potato with it right out the gate. And don't get me wrong, correct. I'm a very big fan of let's switch it up and let's have titles change hands, and short reigns are sometimes better. But when you're debuting a new title like this, you have to let it run a little bit.
Yep.
That being said, you move over to the last chance match for the NXT North American Championship, Oba Femi versus Wes Lee. And even though Moose was talking some smack on Twitter saying he'll challenge for the title, I think Wes Lee gets the win here. Oba's had a good run. You're not going to do 2 last chance matches in the same weekend. I get it. Different brands, whatever, main roster, developmental, whatever. Who cares? But I don't.
If Seth wins his match, no, I'm sorry.
Does that change my thought process on this?
No. I scratched that. I got it mixed up. If Damian wins the world title match, then yes, you will have. No, sorry, scratch that. Reverse that. I was right the first time. If Seth wins his match, then you have Oba Femi go over Wes Lee. Because then you have one of them at least lose their last chance match.
Correct. I just don't think they're both going to lose.
Correct.
And to be honest, the Oba Femi thing, like, I'm over it. Like, all right, cool. Big dude, strong, powerful, whatever. Piss off.
He's got decent promos. He's had a good run. I don't know. For some reason,
he's had a good run. There's the point, though. He's had a good run.
I still feel like Oba Femi wins this one.
I may eat crow on Sunday. Who knows? But either way, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't, and this sounds really bad when I say it out loud, I don't care who wins or who loses this match. Right? I think it's going to be a good match. We've seen it before. That's the only downside. We've seen it a couple times. Right? But if history has told us anything, it's still going to be a good match.
Correct.
Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship. I think it's time. I think it's time for Roxanne to drop the title. I think it's a good idea to put it on Lola.
'Tis Lola's time.
Yeah, I think it's good to switch it up, give someone else a spotlight, start to get Roxanne ready for that transition to the main roster, which I think is inevitable around the SummerSlam time.
That whole bit last week where she knocks out Roxanne, grabs her title, takes it all the way to,
Ava and drops it off with her.
Oh, yeah, it's like, here, I want a title shot. You can have her crap back.
Yeah. That was really good.
That tells you a lot about your champion. Like, maybe we should give her a shot.
Now, here's a match that actually annoys the hell out of me.
Why? Because they made it a fatal 4-way instead of a singles match? Yep.
Yes. Don't get me wrong, I wanted Joe Hendry to win. Don't get me wrong. But I was very excited to see Trick Williams versus Javon Evans for the NXT title. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Are they going to, sacrifice Trick's title run for, Evans for his, rise to the stardom? Or are they going to cool down this kid by having him lose to Trick?
Mm-hmm.
Was somebody going to get involved? Well, now you've took the two people that I thought were going to get involved in Ethan Page and Shawn Spears, and you put them in the damn match.
It made no sense to me. Then again, I guess I didn't keep up enough with it.
And don't get me wrong, there was a match going on, something like that, where I think Evan's number one contendership was on the line, and then it got interrupted. Some shenanigans happened.
Fine. Shenanigans.
Sure. Now, that being said, you can have Page or Spears take a pinfall here and protect Williams and Evans. You could even have Spears take the pinfall and protect Page as well, if that's your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind, I still think Joe Hendry shows up here. Because say his name and he appears.
Because he still went to Shawn and like, we ain't done here.
And I believe in Joe Hendry.
So he gonna walk into whatchamacallit, the hell's that pay-per-view he's got that title shot at?
With the next TNA one?
Yeah.
Isn't it Bound for Glory?
Yes, Bound for Glory. Expecting to walk into Bound for Glory as the NXT World Champion and win the TNA World Champion?
Why not?
They'd be the perfect person to do it.
Yep. But, I would still like to see Trick win. I love Trick Williams. I love the wrestling. I love the entrance. I think the character needs a little bit of work. Like, they need to define him a little bit more. They did a really good job when you had that feud with Mello because there was stuff to build off of. You haven't really done anything, but you haven't not done anything with him either. There's been a really good happy medium of him, of you knowing that he's champion, and even while he's not doing anything, he's let his competitors do everything for him.
Yeah.
So, big shout out to DIY. I mean that's really heat wave though. Before I get into the shout out for DIY, because I'm going to. That's really NXT is really cut and dry. I think for me, it is something to where I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yep.
But I'm not as invested in the NXT storylines right now as I am the main roster. I'm not invested in any other storylines right now as I am what they have going on the main roster. Like, I'm very, very excited for tomorrow night. Very excited. I said it last week, damn it. I'll say it again. Toronto is DIY's home and native land. And they did a huge callback to when they won the titles against FTR tonight, when they had the double submission center of the ring in Toronto. Beautiful moment. And I think we're going to see A-Town Down Under have to have a little feud against each other. I wonder who takes the face role, though. Will it be Austin Theory or will it be Grayson Waller?
I think it'd be Austin Theory. I think Grayson Waller's too
much of a prick.
Yeah.
Possible. Very, very possible.
I mean, you have Austin Theory kind of, come back to the boys. I mean, to the family. To the way. That's all you got to do.
Come back to the way. But that is it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to get out of here. We want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Butters for being here with us, with me each and every week. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy Money in the Bank. Enjoy Heatwave on Sunday. We're going to talk about it all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, right here on A2D Radio, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Speaker, Spotify, wherever. But until then, tell somebody you love them. Peace, love, and joy. We are out of here.